Welcome to Phoenix Podcast, hosted by me, Amin Moinian. We deep dive into the worlds of economics and politics, and today, oh boy, do we have a fascinating,
Yeah.
a fascinating topic. We're going all the way up north to Canada, to Quebec specifically, and we're going to explore their economy.
Yeah.
It's a really unique situation up there.
It is.
So imagine a place that really, really values social good.
Okay.
You know, stuff like worker cooperatives and nonprofits, all that,
Right.
all that jazz. But what if, and here's the kicker, what if those values, as good as they are, what if those values are actually like kind of holding them back economically?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to unpack today.
It's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. So what makes Quebec so different? I mean, why are we even talking about this?
Well, I think it comes down to what they call the social economy, right?
Right.
Which is, it's just a fancy way, really, of saying they've got a ton of organizations that, they prioritize social goals,
Right.
sometimes even over profits, which is,
Pretty unique.
Yeah.
So how big are we talking here? I mean, is this like a couple of, small businesses or?
Oh, no, this is huge. It's massive. Over 11,000 organizations,
Wow.
bringing in something like $49 billion in revenue.
That's a lot of dough.
It's a lot, employing almost 220,000 people.
Wow.
It's a big part of their economic and social identity, for sure.
So it's clearly a big part of their society.
Yeah.
It's a big part of their economy. But like we were saying, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, is it?
Right. I mean, it's on the surface, it sounds great.
Right.
Supporting social aims. Who wouldn't want that, right?
Yeah.
But this much government involvement,
Yeah.
it raises some eyebrows.
Right. It's kind of like imagine a garden, right? Where the gardeners like really focus on a few plants,
Okay, yeah.
and they kind of neglect everything else.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So those plants might do great, those few plants, but the whole garden, it might not be so healthy. It might not be as diverse.
I see the analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying that too much government support for one part of the economy,
Exactly.
even if it's well-intentioned,
Exactly.
it can create an imbalance.
Exactly.
Right.
And it can actually discourage private investment.
Exactly.
Because why would you invest if the government's already picking winners and losers?
Right. And you need that private investment.
Absolutely.
It's critical for innovation, for growth, for competition, all the things that make an economy thrive.
Right. You got to have a level playing field.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of government involvement, Quebec also has this history of something called industrial policy, which is, basically the government saying, hey, we're going to get involved and we're going to shape these industries. We're going to pick, winners and losers.
Right.
It sounds good on paper, but historically it's,
well, it's a mixed bag.
yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
I mean, you look at...
There are a lot of unintended consequences. A lot of unintended consequences. So, remember the Quiet Revolution back in the 60s?
Yeah, yeah.
This was a huge, huge moment for Quebec, socially, politically, and definitely economically.
For sure. Huge changes, a lot of government involved.
Exactly. The government got really involved in the economy. They nationalized industries, created a ton of public sector jobs.
Yeah. Really expanded the welfare state.
Exactly.
A lot of intervention.
They were like, we're going to take control. We're going to make things better.
Right.
But
it didn't necessarily translate to better living standards for everyone in the long run.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Kind of sometimes the best thing the government can do is just
Get out of the way.
get out of the way. Exactly. Let the market do its thing.
Yeah, that's a key idea in classic liberalism and the Austrian School of Economics. The idea that when businesses are free to make their own decisions, when they can, take risks and respond to the market without all this regulation and interference.
Right.
It leads to innovation. It benefits everyone.
Right. It's all about finding that sweet spot, like that balance between
Right.
supporting those good social goals, but also creating an environment where businesses can actually thrive.
Yeah, because without the businesses thriving, you can't really support
Exactly.
the social programs in the long term.
Right. And speaking of businesses, I mean, we kind of got to talk about the big thing in the room,
Okay, what's that?
the labor laws
Ah, yes.
in Quebec.
Yeah,
Quebec has this, they have a really strong social safety net,
they do.
which is great. They really emphasize worker protection,
Right.
which, again, awesome.
Yeah.
But it comes with
A cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes with some pretty strict labor laws
Right.
and a lot of regulations. And businesses. Businesses don't love that. They don't love it.
Yeah.
It can be burdensome. And that perception matters.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Because remember what happened with Amazon?
Ooh, yeah.
They pulled out of Quebec.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That sent shockwaves through the business community.
For sure. I mean, it's a perfect example of what can happen when businesses get spooked.
Yeah, when they don't feel welcome.
Exactly, when they feel like the rules are stacked against them.
Yeah. And so if companies are, hesitant to invest, that means fewer jobs,
Yeah,
slower economic growth.
absolutely. It's all about confidence. Investors need to feel confident.
Yeah, yeah.
They need stability, predictability. They want to know the rules of the game, and they want to know those rules aren't going to change on a dime.
Right, exactly.
And when you have, a reputation for really rigid labor laws, unpredictable regulations, a history of maybe not being the most business friendly.
It makes people think twice.
Exactly. Especially when you're competing on a global stage.
Right.
For investment, for talent.
Okay, so let's take a step back for a second.
Okay.
We've got this situation where Quebec is, they're really trying to take care of their people. They got strong social programs.
Yeah.
They got worker protections.
Absolutely.
All great
That
things.
theory. Yeah.
But at the same time, those policies, they might be scaring businesses away.
Right. So it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
What does that mean for them in the long run?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's a tricky situation. No easy answers. But it raises some really important questions. I mean, can you have your cake and eat it too?
Yeah.
Can you achieve all these social goals without hurting economic growth? Is there some kind of magical balance?
Right.
Where you can support social well-being and economic growth at the same time?
It's tough because it really does highlight that you got to make choices.
It does.
You can't have everything all the time. So listeners, we're going to leave you with a question.
What do you think? Can a place like Quebec, with their commitment to social good, also create an environment that, brings in businesses, that creates jobs, that fuels economic growth? It's a tough one.
It is.
But it's one worth thinking about. It's one that we all need to think about as we try to navigate this really complex relationship between economic freedom and social welfare.
Yeah, those are big ideas.
Big ideas, tough questions. But hey, that's what we do here at Phoenix Podcast. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Quebec's economy. And we'll catch you next time.
See you later.